Hey there, everyone. If you're listening to us, I hope you know you pressed on Joy of the Hang. So you will be listening to Sharon and Lauren have a little fun today. Hey, Lauren.
Hey Sharon, how are you today?
I'm good. I wanted to mix up the intro a little bit because, we're at 20 episodes. And, if you don't know where you are now, you're never going to know.
And change can be the spice of life. We like to change things up and get a little zany and
Yeah, that's
woo.
right. Woo woo.
So I have to tell you
All right. What do you have to tell me?
that remember you gave me a cup of coffee last
Yes.
time we were here having an episode, and I loved the fact that it said on it, you are gorgeous. So as I sipped my coffee, but you mentioned to me that there was like a
something on the
surprise,
bottom.
something in the bottom.
Yeah.
So literally I never looked. And then I went home. I think I was like in bed at like 1:00 a.m. and woke up like in a cold sweat and was like, oh my God,
What was at the bottom?
what was at the bottom? I don't know.
So when Lauren comes over, I give her one of two mugs, either the Hello Gorgeous, because she is gorgeous.
Thanks, Sharon.
Beautiful blonde with beautiful blue eyes, bluish green eyes.
Bluish, depending on what I wear, I guess.
Beautiful. So yeah, she always looks stunning. So at the bottom of that cup, or the other cup is the Harvard mug. That's
Yes.
because we're both Harvard moms. So I will share that mug with you. But that mug at the bottom has lips at the bottom, like it's giving you a kiss.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, so it's a lip print.
Are they
Not
red lips?
They're red lips.
Yeah, I like the red
They're
lips.
not my red lips because how would you get that in the bottom of the cup?
I love red lips. I love lipstick. I have an ungodly amount of lipsticks because I feel like, and maybe women have something that's inexpensive, like a lipstick that they buy for themselves. But I feel like if you're in a mood or not feeling good or need a little change up, you can literally go to CVS.
I was going to say,
an $8.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite brand though, or are you good with pharmacy lipstick?
I like everything though. I like low end, high end. I do appreciate, the high end ones that you're paying for the packaging or the, container that the actual, color is in. But I like, I've spent $8 on a lipstick, and probably I'm guessing that the most expensive lipstick I currently own is from the Goop website that Gwyneth Paltrow owns, and I believe that it was like an $85 lipstick.
Oh my gosh, wow. But you know what, lipstick lasts a long time.
Right.
It does last a long time. I usually grab the pharmacy lipstick, and I think Maybelline is like the longest wearing one. I like the lip stain because I hate the stuff that you put on your lips and it comes off on a glass.
Yeah, it does look kind of tacky, although you know what you're supposed to do etiquette-wise, ladies, is when you have lipstick on that comes off, and you're drinking either coffee or a glass of wine, you want to make sure that you're drinking in the same area because etiquette-wise, you don't want to have
all around the
lip prints all around your glass.
So I used to own a restaurant, and that stuff is so hard to get off glasses. Lipstick.
I believe
marks.
it because haven't you ever had a glass on a table in a restaurant where you walked in and you're like, excuse me, to the waiter that you need a new glass because your glass has lipstick on it.
Exactly. It's really hard to get it off. So they must be either using the higher end or their cheaper stuff. But yeah, sometimes it's hard. So one of the things you mentioned something, a glimmer versus a trigger we were talking about earlier. What is a glimmer? What's that?
Glimmer I love, and that triggers are things that happen throughout your day that
all know what a trigger
are
is.
negative,
Yeah.
not positive. Maybe you see someone that's a trigger, maybe you smell something, just a bad negative thing. Glimmers, which you have to make the effort to look for, are positive things in your day, like maybe meeting a best friend for coffee, or you get to see the sun rise or see the sun set, and those are glimmers, things that make you happy, positive little things. And really, it's sort of like, I guess, silver lining, having the glass be half full. If you really took all of the effort that you put into either complaining about something or seeing the negative and instead looked at the positive, you would just be much happier in life.
So that makes me think, obviously the podcast name is Joy of the Hang. I'm curious, what brings you joy and what kind of glimmers have you had recently?
I have a huge need to connect to people. I will talk to random strangers.
She will. I've seen it happen.
Yep, it's why I sit at the bar. It's why there's a new place opening up here called Sugar Champagne Bar. I'm not sure why they have bar in the name because apparently there is no bar
There is
seating,
no bar.
which is a deal breaker for me. I mean, I sat at the bar at the Hard Rock Casino in Tampa yesterday and I had a wonderful conversation with these two brothers. It's only them. Everyone else has died in their family, their parents, their siblings, cousins. It's just the two of them. And it was such a great conversation. They had different political views on some things than I did, but it was just a wonderful conversation with two complete strangers. And that, honestly, Sharon, makes me happy. I like to connect to random people and hear their story, and I just feel like it makes my life better.
I love that. Yeah, I had a similar situation happen when I went to the New York Fashion Show. I went by myself, so I sat next to a woman who was also by herself at the show, and we ended up talking about our children and her. You and I both have daughters that went to Harvard, and she had a 12-year-old that wanted to go to Harvard, and it was just so strange because she's from the indigenous community up in Canada, a tribe there, and she said she didn't think that opportunity would be there for her daughter and was curious like how to do it, and she was going to try to put her daughter into a private school, and I'm like, she's already got an amazing story, right? I mean, just living in a tribal community, I think, is a fascinating place to come from. So anyway, we had a lovely talk too, and I left there feeling really great about just having a chance to meet someone new.
Right, and then I was in Philadelphia visiting my son and went, because it was a beautiful, perfect day, like 3:00 in the afternoon. I went to sit outside of Park Restaurant, which is right in Rittenhouse Square, grab a glass of rosé, and there was a woman next to me. Her name's Rachel. She's a mom, a wife. They were selling their home in Philadelphia, moving out to the suburbs of Philadelphia, putting their kids in school there. But she and I chatted for about an hour. I am sure anyone walking by thought we were, girlfriends,
old friends,
enjoying a glass
That's
of wine. And literally, here's this person, Rachel, I've never met in my life. She's probably not quite 40 yet. I'm 53. But we just had so much in common, and it was such a great conversation, and I had such a great day. And I'm just thankful that I am able to strike up conversations with people I don't know, because it literally brings me joy. Sharon.
That fills your cup.
Yeah.
So have you ever had a time when you approached somebody to talk and they were like, "Get away from me, crazy lady"?
100%. It's very clear when you talk to someone at a bar where they are not interested in having a conversation with you at all.
They just turn their back on you.
Exactly. I was going to say you can tell a lot
body
from
language.
body language.
In their body language, that makes sense.
Yeah, because body language is everything. I say that I talk to guys all the time at the bar, but my body language is everything in that my shoulders are facing straight forward, and I usually turn my neck to have the conversation with the men so that I'm not squared off towards them as though they might think that I'm hitting on them or that I have any intention in the conversation.
You're not leaning in.
I'm not leaning in at all.
Hey, looking into their eyes.
Exactly. Body language is everything.
Yeah. So obviously this podcast brings Lauren and I a lot of joy. So we've had several glimmers, but we have had a few comments recently that I kind of want to talk about. So we've had a lot of great guests on the show. Recently we had a young lady with an eating disorder. We had another young lady who had lost her child. We've had a gentleman who is struggling with alcohol and drug addiction. So we handle some pretty intense topics. We had another woman who is a domestic violence survivor. So the whole purpose of our show is to create a platform and a place where people can tell their stories in an authentic and safe way. So we do not pretend to be experts in any of these areas. However, we both believe that the people telling their stories are in fact experts in their own personal journey. So we want to continue to have controversial topics discussed on the show in a good way. We always look for the silver lining in the shows, but do you want to add anything to that?
No, just that we are, excited to be able to hang out, do this podcast, and create a platform for people to come on and tell their truth or tell their story in a way that, is helpful to them. We've had people ask us if they can come share their story because they find it very, therapeutic.
Very cathartic.
Cathartic to, talk to lots of people who are listening about what they've gone through in their life, and they feel like they're being honest, they're not being judged. So, but we certainly are not experts in any way in, we're not experts in eating disorder. We're not experts in violence in the home. We are not experts in addiction with alcohol or drugs. But we do find joy in surrounding ourselves with people from all walks of life.
Exactly, and we want to celebrate everybody's journey, the ups and the downs, and by telling the story, we're hoping that they're hoping, I think, to help others that may feel a similar way or be going through a similar experience. So we're going to keep pushing the envelope. We're going to keep talking about sex, and we're going to keep talking about all of the stuff that we go through in life. I mean, none of us are immune from any of it. So hopefully some of it will resonate with our listeners, and definitely want to thank our listeners for tuning in and sticking with us and having some fun with us.
And thank anyone that
wants to be on the show. Yeah.
No, but we'd like to thank the people that actually take the time to make a comment.
Correct.
You might not agree with what we're saying, but I love the fact that people take the time to make a comment about something they heard, and it can be informational.
Right. I agree.
And I welcome anyone the opportunity to comment on what they have heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Review away. We definitely read. We read the reviews. We take them to heart. We also want to learn from the feedback, so to make our show better. But that being said, anything else? Let's talk happy stuff.
Yeah, we just went. So last night we went to North Tampa to the Hard Rock Casino Hotel. They did a really good job, Sharon. I have to say, it was way better than I expected.
Is it the first time you've been there?
Total first time I've been there. It's really big in Vegas,
yeah, it's nice.
I have to say.
It's very
nice.
They
did a really good job.
Yeah, I've been there several times. So did you play?
I did play. I did not win any money. I just played roulette.
Yeah. Was it busy up there?
It was very busy.
Yeah.
Packed. I mean, you could get on a table, but there were a lot of people there. I mean, I think a lot of men who come to the area for business like to stay there, and, because they can gamble.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful pool. But I think they get a lot of business travelers there.
So I'm curious, what are some of your pet peeves? I have a couple.
I would have to say
a couple.
Number one pet peeve, which is so funny, is people who don't, take their cart back when they go to the grocery store. A second pet peeve would be people who have a dog and their dog poops and they don't
pick it up.
And they don't pick it up.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, it would be passive aggressive people. Like, if you don't like me, that's fine, but the whole passive aggressive thing, like a backhanded compliment, like when a woman walks up to me, looks me up and down and says, "Oh wow, those shoes, like, can you walk in them?" I mean, I could never wear something like that.
I get that too. It does drive me crazy. Like, so yeah, we're not asking you to walk in these shoes.
Or
Like,
wear them,
right. And we're
or,
not going to walk in your clogs
yeah, it's
either.
such a
So yeah,
backhanded compliment.
it is. I agree. Yeah, mine would be my biggest one is when somebody doesn't use a directional signal to make a turn. That drives me crazy because I am not a mind reader and I'm always afraid I'm going to rear end them. So that's a big one for me. Another one that for some reason my husband, and I love you, Scott, recently started like he'll put something away that only has like crumbs left in it. He'll put it back in the cupboard.
That's something a child does.
And I'm just like, I go to get it because I want a snack or something, and I open it and I'm like, seriously? Like, who does
It's like
this?
leaving one sip of milk and then
Who
milk
does
curdle.
this? Exactly. I'm like, and so it happened again this morning, and I'm like, can you please stop doing this? I'm like, I don't know when to buy it and replace it because I'm thinking there's more than there actually is. So that's a big pet peeve of mine too. So we got to work on that. He needs more training. Anybody else need to train their husbands? We've only been married for 2 years, but we've been together for 10, and I guess I haven't done a good job
I
as
guess
the
what's
trainer.
key though is the communication, and that if you make the point to say, hey, don't, leave the bag of potato chips in there with crumbs or one potato chip
Yeah.
in there, and
Like for
he
real,
continues to do it,
right?
then that's what's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not perfect. We've talked about that. I am
It's
also not perfect. I'm sure I do
No.
things that drive him crazy too.
None of us are
So,
perfect.
Scott, you can come on and tell me what your pet peeves are about me.
Right, but I think if you have a conversation about it, like, we don't make our bed, but I'll admit, if my husband came to me and said, like, I wish we made our bed, or could you make the bed, it'd be really simple to just quickly make up the bed.
It doesn't take any time at all
It takes no time
to
at
make
all.
the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. These aren't big problems.
No, not at all. Not at all. And he's the most organized person I know. Like, I really could be more organized. So that probably drives him crazy. I can ask him where something is and he knows exactly where it is.
Yeah. And then I guess what you have to realize with, say, the pet peeves is, maybe someone left their cart because they weren't able to park in handicapped parking and it was a struggle to walk all the way back. I'm just saying, to be devil's advocate.
No, they walked all through the grocery store.
I guess
they're just lazy.
There can always be reasons.
You're just lazy if you're not putting your cart away. Put the damn cart away. I'm going to lecture. Listeners, put your cart away.
Now, the dog poop thing, I mean, as a runner, like,
I hate that too.
Frustrating when you almost, you're out on a walk or a run and you almost...
I do have to say, though, I was pretty embarrassed. So we were babysitting a dog for a little while, and I walked it over the bridge, and the dog did poop on the bridge, and it was kind of loose. And so it was very difficult for me to pick it up. I did my best, but there was definitely more.
You can't help that.
There was definitely more that somebody could have stepped in. And I'm like, it's embarrassing though, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm in the middle of the bridge. There's no place to get dirt. No place to.
To that note, I think if it's diarrhea, because Bear gets diarrhea every now and again, and I don't even try and pick it up. I mean, she's literally peeing from her butt. You can't pick up pee.
What can you do? I know.
So the poor thing.
I know.
Yeah, I don't even attempt to pick that up.
But we were staying at, I'm not going to say which one, but before the house was built here, we were staying at an apartment building in town that people did not take care of their dogs. And I remember getting up one morning, I had an early flight to the airport. I get on the elevator at 5 a.m. and don't you know, there was a big pile of dog poo.
In the elevator.
Big pile. It had to have been a big dog in the elevator. And I walked in and I went, are you fucking kidding me right now? So, yeah, it was really, apartment life just wasn't for me.
Oh, my God. So since we're talking about, about poop, I mean, it is dog poop, but I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what an upper decker is?
No. I had to think for a second.
Which has been done, where people will take the lid off the back of a toilet, poop in the lid, put it back on so that their buddies, start to notice a smell, a couple of days later and can't figure out where the
Wait,
smell
so
is
they're
from.
pooping on the
'Cause
lid. They're
that's
not
what,
pooping in the
no, they take off the lid and they poop
in the lid and then put it back
inside the
on.
lid area, that little water thing
okay,
there.
where there's water.
And then they put the lid back on.
Oh, so you just
that
have
their buddy
stinky
like,
water.
Yeah, so their buddy's like, why does it smell in here?
But when you flush, it comes into the bowl.
It gets all like gnarred up.
That's gross, man.
It gets all gnar. And I actually know someone who his girlfriend had this little kitty, a tiny little, baby kitty. And the kitty had kitty litter. And played a joke, took a massive, 6'3" guy shit in the kitty litter. So that when the girlfriend, came home and thought her cute
this
little
is your
kitty
friend
was
that
dying.
your friend did this?
Oh, I didn't do it. This isn't me being like, oh, a friend.
I didn't mean
But
that
he
you
literally-
did it. I meant maybe you need new friends.
Right.
That's what I mean.
The things that guys
Wow.
will do, the effort they will take to do something funny is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, that's reaching new heights or new lows.
I mean, can you imagine looking
know.
at this little kitty and looking at his kitty litter
And seeing
seeing
a big
poop,
big
and
poop.
you'd be like, oh my god,
What's wrong with my
what
cat?
is wrong with my little kitty?
I don't know. Yeah, I would have some concern for
Well,
sure
you're
for
not
the
going to
cat.
get close enough to be like, oh, it's people poop
Right.
instead of kitty poop. You're just, I think, too taken back by the fact that
It's so
there's
gross.
a large
I'm sorry.
poop
That
in the
is
kitty litter.
so gross. All right, listeners, have you guys experienced this with your pets and your friends? Because we definitely want to hear about that. Actually,
on.
maybe I don't want to hear about
You
it.
all know that
I don't
you
think I want to
have
hear about it.
friends who have done something ridiculous like that, all for the sake of getting a laugh.
Oh my God, on that note, do you have any advice for your younger self today?
Let's see, for my younger self. As I always say, Sharon, I think I always have advice for my younger self. I would say, this is going to be a funny thing, but to do with hair. I never had great hair, have never had thick hair, but I always placed way too much importance on my hair, as though I wasn't going to be pretty if I had short hair or the wrong hair, the wrong color hair, which is so ridiculous. You know what I mean? To attach that much of your self-worth to hair is just stupid. I mean, I know there's the saying, good hair day, bad hair day, but I think I almost have always placed too much worth on my hair, and that's why recently I just chopped it, and I'm gonna cut another inch off it because I'm having fun with it, and I'm like, who cares? I can still be feminine and pretty and feel sexy with short, choppy hair.
Yeah, I think I would tell my younger self, you don't feel like you're enough now. You probably, I don't know, maybe never will. So I just turned 59, and I think you just finally have to accept who God made you to be, and that you're never to stop comparing yourself, I guess, to other people. I think that's a big one for me. Stop trying to be somebody you're not.
That's huge. I mean,
and try to be authentic and figure out who that is. I mean, I think that's been a struggle throughout my whole life, is really identifying
we
who I
all
am.
know we shouldn't do it, but we all do it. And you will never, ever, ever be happy if you compare yourself. I mean, I don't care how pretty you are. There's always someone prettier. How much money you have. There's always someone that has more money. How funny you are. There's always someone funnier. It's a slow death to compare yourself to other people.
Yeah, but like you said, we all do it. And I think that, you have to be in a place of acceptance, right? But also I don't even think acceptance is the right word, because I always strive to be better or be my best self. So I don't know that I'm just accepting mediocrity or saying, I'm good enough, because I always want to be better. Maybe not different, but better.
I think it's okay
Self-improvement,
to improve yourself.
Right, that's important. Yeah. But for me, not because I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not.
Okay.
Right, and I think that's what's important. That's probably what I tell my younger self. So that's it for today, folks. Thanks for hanging with us again.
Yeah, thanks for hanging with us. That was fun.
It was fun. Peace out, friends.
Peace out, Girl Scout.